We're recording. Okay, everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm going to hand the mic to Nate for a moment. Nate?
Yeah, I was just going to give a quick introduction. It looks like almost everyone here does know Chris, but for those of you that don't, this is Chris Vega. He's from the House of Vega of the Midwest. He's most famously known for climbing up Mount Kilimanjaro using only his left hand. And he also swam the Panama Canal. And there we go, Chris.
Thank you, Nate. Beautiful introduction. I couldn't have asked for a better one. It was actually my right hand, not my left hand, but it was the right mountain. So thank you. Right now, since we have a pretty modest but very important audience, I'd like for us to go through, and if you could give us your first name so we can meet you, and also tell us how long you've been a member of Team RWB, and if you could also describe the last event you went to. So just those three things: your name, how long you've been a member, and the last event that you attended, please. And Nate, I'd like to start with you.
Yeah, so I'm Nate. I'm the state coordinator for Denver and the chapter captain, state coordinator for Colorado and chapter captain for Denver. Let's see, I've been in Team RWB for 5-6 years now. And the last event I attended was yesterday, Saturday, Forward Movement, where we went bike riding. And you want me to assign who's going to get handed off to?
Well, I'll take care of that. Thank you, Nate. All right, Abigail, would you mind going next?
Not at all. I was quickly Googling the app to see how long I've been part of Team RWB. So probably 4 years, I think. I don't know. COVID put everything into a spin. My last event is technically this one. Otherwise, it was Thursday, the Incline Challenge. And I think that was all I was supposed to do.
Yes, that is all. Thank you very much. Can we have Dennis Sherrill, please?
Sure. Hi, Dennis Henry here. I've been a member probably 6 years now. And my last event was Thursday. My wife, Cheryl, I'm just yanking her out, and she's been to 2 events. So short timer.
All right, thanks for that. Cheryl, can't wait to see you at future events.
Yeah, they've been fun. I've had a lot of fun.
All right. Hey, Andy, love to hear from you. You want to go next? Okay, Andy's taking a nap. Let's go with Michael and Stephanie, please.
Hello, I'm Michael. My last event was Friday, Sloan's Lake. And I think I've been with Team RWB for just over 3 years, I think. Almost 4 years, I think. And I've been a leader for 2 years, I think. Yeah. And then there's Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I've been with Team RWB since 2013. The last event that I attended was Friday, Sloan's Lake. And that's it. Thanks for putting this on. It's really cool.
Thank you for joining us, and thanks for that information. How about Miguel, please, would you go?
Hey, how's it going? Sorry, I have the screen on there. I don't know how to take it off. I'll take it off in a bit. But I am not a member of Team RWB. Ruiz actually gave me this link, so I'm just joining in, seeing what's up. Excited.
I appreciate you joining us, and I actually love that background. Van Gogh's very cool. I hope you enjoy it. Let's go with Janet's here. Hey, Janet, you want to say hi?
Hello, sorry, I'm running a little late. I was watching my cousin's kid score his first goal ever.
Very cool, very cool. So we're just sharing our first names, how long we've been in Team RWB, and if you could describe the last event that you went to.
Janet, not even sure, and the incline. Or no, Sloan's Lake.
Sloan's Lake Run. Okay, cool. Thanks. Who else? Zeddy, how about you?
Hi. Okay, so I actually I should have been listening to the questions. What were the questions that we're supposed to be answering?
So the first question is, you're going to introduce yourself by your first name, and then you're going to tell us how long you've been a member of Team RWB, if you are a member. And then the third is describe the last event you went to, if you're a member.
Okay, so my name's Lizette Cisneros, but I love when people call me Zeddy, so that is why I have it under Zeddy.
Okay.
And I am not a member.
Okay.
I was just told about this, and I was like, why not? So I'm here, and I can't really answer the third question then. So.
Well, that's fine. I appreciate your company, and hopefully you get a little bit about physical activity and about our health and the impact that those two things have with each other. So thanks for joining us. I think that's everyone. So we're going to go ahead and start with me. I have to introduce myself. My name is Chris Vega. It's wonderful to see you all, and I thank you for sharing that personal information with me. For the most part, there are a lot of familiar faces here, and it's great to see you again. For those of you I'm meeting for the first time, thank you for joining this workshop. I'm a 10-year veteran of the greatest army in the world. I served as a medic and LPN, among some other interesting roles. And not long ago, I decided to get back into the medical field. I'm currently working on my bachelor's in nursing at Metropolitan State University in Denver. My role today is going to be that of a student educator. And while content of today's workshop is based on knowledge from the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, the information that I'm going to provide you should not replace the advice and care of a licensed and certified medical professional. This is simply a science-based workshop that I'm providing to a community and people whose well-being that I care about. So we're here to discuss the health implications of participation in physical activity. Also, what happens when you avoid physical activity. We're also going to discuss our ability to create healthy habits with regard to engaging in your own workout regimen or engaging in events with Team RWB. So with this workshop or this intervention that I've constructed here, we've got 3 learning objectives today. The first is, after learning about the effects of a sedentary lifestyle, members and audience members of Team RWB will be able to recall at least one way that our bodies and lives are impacted negatively by a sedentary lifestyle. We'll get all the negative stuff out of the way now so we can focus and finish with some positive notes. Our second objective is, after learning about the benefits of attending physical activity events through Team RWB or your own workout regimen, members will be able to provide an example of said benefits. And finally, our third and last objective is, at the conclusion of this intervention, after having absorbed all the relevant health information, members of Team RWB will commit to attending a physical activity event, hopefully in the week following the intervention. And you're going to construct a pledge to yourself that includes a fitness goal as well. And we'll talk about how to put a realistic fitness goal together. But before we begin our first objective, do I have any questions yet? Nothing. Okay. And before I dive into that objective, we are going to collectively begin a 1-minute breathing exercise. So Dr. Beth Freitz of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine is a huge proponent of the 1 minute breath meditation, and describes it as being able to bring clarity to a person's world. So if you haven't already, please find a comfortable position, and to the best of your ability, try to maintain good posture. Relax your arms, and when I ask you to begin, I would like for you to start mindfully breathing. That's drawing in deep breaths through your nose and focusing on the exhale through your mouth. It's slightly more forceful than usual, almost like blowing out birthday candles. So, begin. Just focus on drawing in a deep breath through your nose, exhale through your mouth. All right. Now that we brought some clarity into our world, let's go ahead and dive into our first objective, which is after learning about the effects of a sedentary lifestyle, members of Team RWB will be able to recall at least one way our bodies and lives are impacted negatively. Now, many of us like to believe that we know how to establish and maintain good health, and you may, but some of us may not remember what's at stake, or we need to be reminded, which is perfectly okay. This is our well-being that we're talking about. You can always revisit health information as often as necessary. So let's first discuss the impact of being sedentary. And a sedentary lifestyle, to put it simply, is a lifestyle that involves little or no physical activity. At first thought, leading this type of life seems obviously wrong and easily avoidable, but then life happens. And living life in modern times comes with as many potential setbacks as there are beautiful aspects of it. Unfortunately, many of these setbacks can influence how high or low our health is on the list of priorities. People tend to put self-care on the back burner in the face of life stressors. And the stress can be caused by finances, our professions, or being unemployed, relationships, injuries, or other health conditions, our immediate environments, pandemics, you name it. There always seems to be something that deserves more of our attention than exercise. But whether you're a couch potato or a work desk potato, we can't let that be our truth. Avoiding exercise can actually compound the problems that we face, and here's how. Being sedentary can lead to consequences that include the following. Hypertension, for one. This is increased blood pressure in the arteries. It's often called the silent killer. Over time, it can lead to serious conditions that you may or may not be aware of, including loss of vision. Some more popular are stroke and heart failure, unfortunately. Another one is sexual dysfunction, actually. Another risk of leading a sedentary lifestyle is potentially developing cancer. There's an increased risk of experiencing certain cancers, such as that of large intestine or lung cancer, among others. Another way is decreased muscle mass. Now, this may or may not sound like a negative consequence of a sedentary lifestyle, but overall, decrease in strength means that your ability to effectively carry out activities of daily living become more difficult. And it also becomes a little more difficult to reverse course. You'll have more work cut out for you to reach a healthy baseline. Another way sedentary lifestyles affect us negatively is how it affects our immune systems. It weakens the immune system. And this isn't a great problem to have, especially in the wake of a pandemic. Being immunocompromised can hinder quality of life. Another way is obesity. Americans reached an astonishing 42% obesity rate in 2018. And yes, BMI standards can be debated. I've definitely had run-ins with what I would call exaggerated BMI levels for me, just because I'm a short guy and I carry a little more weight than the standard says to, which is why it can be debated. But obesity is a serious condition. It's even considered a pandemic. The conditions that are caused by obesity are those that we've already discussed and some that we haven't touched on, like diabetes. There's a risk of developing type 2 diabetes with a sedentary lifestyle. This is formerly known as adult onset diabetes. And it means because of your lifestyle, your body becomes unable to regulate the use of glucose and your blood sugar level becomes a little too high. And it can lead to pretty bad conditions, including circulatory disorders as well as nervous system disorders. Another negative consequence of sedentary lifestyles is lethargy. And this basically means that you feel like you have little to no energy to accomplish what you need or want to. And ironically, the less active you are, the more often you feel that way. Another aspect is bone health. There's an increased risk of bone loss and experiencing fractures. Another point I want to touch on, and we'll build more on later on because it's so important, is mental health. And depression is an unfortunate side effect or consequence of living a sedentary lifestyle. Mental health is not exempt from the impact of avoiding activity. And many who refuse to exercise regularly can experience depression or lack of self-confidence, low self-esteem, among some other debilitating conditions. Another aspect of our lives that's impacted by being sedentary is sleep. There's a high risk of experiencing sleep disruptions or disorders. And as I'm sure we've all experienced at least once in our lives, lack of quality of sleep can affect every aspect of our lives. We're never at our best without a little bit of beauty rest, and poor sleep patterns can create a vicious daily cycle. Another point I'd like to touch on and talk a little bit more on later is brain function. There's been a noted relationship between exercise and its effects on the central nervous system, more specifically the myelination of our nervous cells. And if anyone's a little confused about that, myelin is that sheath or protective covering on our nervous cells that ensures optimal function by helping transmit messages from brain to body and vice versa. Those are some of the negative impacts of being sedentary. Please keep in mind, all of those conditions can arise even in healthy people, depending on some genetic predispositions or your environment, perhaps. But being a couch potato or work desk potato can absolutely lead to experiencing those conditions. To reiterate the importance, I'd like to share a message from cardiac physiologist, Dr. Raj Fafaria.
This is 60 Seconds to Good Health, brought to you by WakeMed Heart and Vascular Physicians.
Exercise can help keep your heart healthy in a lot of different ways. People who are very sedentary, people who don't exercise, have increased risk for lots of different things. Risks of dying earlier than you would expect, risks of developing heart disease, risks of developing strokes, risk of developing diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. By exercising and going from a sedentary lifestyle to a more active lifestyle, you decrease the risk of obesity, you decrease the risk of high blood pressure and actually improve your blood pressure over time. You improve your cholesterol over time. You decrease the risk of developing diabetes. The key is finding stuff that you enjoy doing, being able to kind of do that regularly. If you have just a little bit of exercise every day, just 10 minutes up to 3 days a week, you can see some benefits with that.
Brought to you by WakeMed Heart and Vascular.
Thanks for sharing, Dr. Raj. Thanks for listening to that. Now, just to keep things interesting, we being Nate and I, we collectively brought together some RWB swag and some other gifts to give away. But to do that, you got to earn it. So would anyone like to volunteer and share one way that our lives are impacted negatively by being sedentary?
Why?
I'll share.
All
Because I
right.
want swag, just kidding. So something, I love all the things that you're mentioning and I'm taking notes, they're great. One of the things that I would say is it's generational. So not only is it your health, but then you're teaching the kids and you're the next generation the same type of lifestyle because they're going to follow what you lead. So that would be something I would add.
That is a phenomenal contribution. I really appreciate that, especially being a dad. That's important to me to set a high standard or just a good example on healthy habits. I really appreciate that, Abigail. Thank you very much. And you just got yourself a swag bag.
Woohoo!
So for the bag, we've got, if anyone's curious, there's a t-shirt in there, a water bottle, and yoga block, as well as an RWB patch. These are pretty hefty bags here. Anyone else like to share one negative consequence of being sedentary?
I got one.
All right.
I've just gone through some health concerns and I've changed my diet considerably. Absolutely no red meat in my diet till further notice, probably long term. I come back with some TSH levels for my thyroid extremely high. Started on some medication to kind of get that under control and was a huge concern. And a lot of it, looking back negatively with the pandemic, was my diet. My diet was horrible. Making that huge change the last 3 weeks, down about 10 pounds and
Nice.
another 15 or 20 if I can. I don't know. We'll see.
I believe you can. I mean, you seem optimistic, and it sounds like you've taken some good interventions to alleviate some of those issues that you're seeing. So good on you. And thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And you got yourself a swag bag, and that I'm pretty sure the t-shirts are small, so perfect for Cheryl, right? Hopefully she likes small t-shirts. All right, we're gonna move on to our second objective. And to begin, I need to emphasize it's not just enough to familiarize ourselves with the negative consequences of avoiding exercise. To be proactive about creating a healthy habit, there are key benefits and concepts that we should understand or revisit if you already know. And with regard to being active and creating room for exercise, it helps to, one, understand how the 11 systems of the human body are benefited. Two, familiarize yourself with the numerous other benefits of exercise. Three, understand the basic components of a concept known as total fitness. Four, conduct a self-assessment and speak to a physician about how exercise ready you might be. Five, we're going to talk about constructing realistic goals. Six, we're going to review the facts on potentially exercising too much. And finally, we're going to talk about your own experiences and levels of expertise. So let's explore each of these concepts individually. Let's talk about our bodies. We have 11 systems that work collectively to provide optimal function. The effect of an exercise has, that effect that an exercise has on each of these systems can be widely debated, but we're going to talk about some important, commonly held perspectives. We'll begin with our circulatory system. It consists of our heart and the network of vessels that extend from it. Together, they transport blood and essential nutrients to our entire body. Circulation system also assists with fighting disease and stabilizing temperature and maintaining homeostasis, which means our internal physical and chemical conditions are at their finest. So how does exercise benefit this system? Well, one way is it helps to reduce the amount of bad cholesterol, along with, of course, proper nutrition and other healthy habits you can build, but we're going to focus on physical activity. The bad cholesterol, like I mentioned, which is known as LDL, you might have heard of that. There's good cholesterol, it's HDL, and we want more of that in our bloodstream than LDL. Exercise also helps to develop a lower heart rate and reduce blood pressure, which is fantastic over time. Let's talk about our digestive systems. This system includes our mouth, throat, stomach, and intestines, which all work with the digestive organs like the liver, gallbladder, pancreas. Together, these components convert food into energy, as well as prepare waste disposal. Over time, exercising regularly can relieve conditions such as chronic constipation. It can facilitate digestion while at rest even. It can have a shielding effect against conditions like colon cancer. A word of caution, the type of nutrients you consume and how much you consume and how closely you eat to the time you begin exercise are all important to know. For example, it may not be ideal to sample the newest, hottest protein shake right before you step out for a 3-mile run. For reasons I'll leave it up to your imagination. But here's another example. It's a little more personal to me. I was invited to compete in a donut relay. And as a person who absolutely loves donuts and loves competition, I thought I found my life's calling. In reality, I was left with so much nauseating discomfort that I had to avoid my favorite vice for several months. Perhaps not a bad thing in the long run, but it was extremely painful at the time. Moving on, well, let's talk about the endocrine system. It consists of several glands around the body that secrete hormones, and these hormones can help regulate body functions, including metabolism, which is the chemical reactions that take place in our body. Exercise facilitates essential hormone production, like human growth hormone, for example, as well as hormones needed for movement. And it also helps blood sugar levels and insulin levels. Moving on to the immune system. We mentioned that before. Exercise or avoiding exercise has an impact on our immunity. The immune system is a collection of organs and tissues and special cells that exist in those areas. And these cells help protect us against harmful organisms and fight infection. And it has been shown that regular, moderate exercise can help protect people against some diseases, even the common cold. It should be noted that overtraining or engaging in constant, extremely extraneous activity can actually have a reverse effect, an undesired effect, and it can suppress your immune function. Moving on to the dermatologic system. It consists of our skin, our hair, nails, and the mucous membranes of our bodies. Together, these components regulate body temperature, protect the body, absorb nutrients, and maintain homeostasis. Long-term benefit from exercise is actually keeping skin more youthful and pliable and softer. Of course, there are exceptions, such as developing callus or blisters near high-use areas. That sort of comes with the lifestyle, depending on what kind of activity you involve yourself in. Now let's talk about muscular system. Obviously, massive potential benefits for the muscular system. It consists of muscles found in our intestines, though, as well as our heart and not just our skeletal muscles. Each of these types of muscles serves a unique purpose, and exercise in conjunction with proper nutrition and rest can promote healthy growth and development. Over time, we can also increase our muscular endurance, and that means that I will be able to keep up with my kids for as long as I need to, and that's a tough feat even now at 5 and 2 years old, but I'm working on it. Exercise also promotes the development of mitochondria in our cells. And once again, there's a big biology word, but just to rehash your memory, mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cells. And to put it simply, more mitochondria equals more energy. Now let's talk about the nervous system. It consists of the central nervous system, which is the brain and the spine, and the peripheral nervous system, which is the nervous system that extends to the rest of the body. Exercise actually assists in the development of new brain cells. I'll talk about that a little bit more. It's just a relatively new concept, and we'll dive into it a little bit later. It also increases oxygen and energy pathways in these systems. Being active has also shown to improve cognitive function, reduce stress levels, and increase alertness. Let's touch on the reproductive system. The male and female are benefited by physical activity in a number of ways. For the male reproductive system, moderate endurance exercise promotes the overall quality of sperm as well as aid in blood vessel dilation. Increased blood flow assists with erectile dysfunction. With regard to the female reproductive system, moderate levels of activity have been shown to have a positive impact on a woman's reproductive health, including improvements in menstrual cyclicity, ovulation, and fertility. And those are just some of the potential benefits. There are downsides to engaging in excessive activity during certain parts of pregnancy, but I would encourage you to consult with the physician on the specifics of those. Let's move on to our respiratory system. It consists of our lungs, diaphragm, mouth, trachea, and nose. This system allows us to breathe, which is the primary means of transporting oxygen and carbon dioxide to and from the tissues of the body. Exercise promotes increased oxygen absorption in the blood by increasing heart rate and breathing rate. Over time, engaging in regular activity increases our endurance levels and our lung capacity. Our bodies don't have to work as hard to accomplish physical tasks like climbing steps or playing with the kids, as I mentioned. Let's talk about the skeletal system. It consists of all of our bones and the connective tissues that hold them together. It provides structure and support to our bodies, as well as enabling movement, producing blood cells, and stores calcium, among some other important functions. Exercise can increase the amount of synovial fluid we have, and that's the superlube that keeps our cartilage joints their healthiest. Over time, physical activity can increase the density and size and weight of our bones, actually. And this means that our bones become stronger and more resilient to injuries and recover faster when we are injured, because accidents can and will happen from time to time. And finally, our renal system. It consists of kidneys and bladder, along with the tubules that are connected to, that connect them to each other. And they lead outside of the body, which is why it's responsible for waste excretion. And kidneys filter our blood. This system also maintains fluid balance and secretes essential hormones. Exercise helps each of those functions and several others run as efficiently as possible. Now, are there any questions about the human body or any contributions? Okay, well, it's not just the body that benefits from being active, right? We have to acknowledge and appreciate what exercise can do for our mind and psyche as well. How would you feel about improved sleep, increased sex drive, stress relief, better mood, sustained energy and stamina, and being more alert? I know I could certainly appreciate all of those benefits, but I can't offer a magic pill or a magic shake to reach those benefits. But physical activity can provide those things. Research conducted for those that experience depression and anxiety has shown improvements in their quality of life after adopting a regular exercise regimen. In fact, the improvements noted among those who began exercising regularly paralleled those who were just taking antidepressants, which is astonishing. It doesn't necessarily suggest that someone taking certain medications should just stop, but it just goes to show us the potential that exercising regularly can have. Now, I mentioned earlier that regular physical activity can lead to the development of new brain cells. This is a exciting and relatively new concept. Until recent times, it was widely held that we were born with a certain number of brain cells without the ability to gain any more. The new evidence demonstrates the contrary, which is something I can certainly get on board with. Dr. John Rady discusses a special brain protein in his book Spark, known as BDNF, to keep it simple. And he describes it as the miracle grow for the brain because it combines with hormones to grow brain cells. Regular exercise increases the production of BDNF, and it also increases the volume of our hippocampus, which is where that's developed. It's also the part of the brain associated with making memories and learning. Exercise has also been found to enhance awareness, attention, and planning, all higher functions of our brains. So let's talk about a concept I mentioned earlier. It's called total fitness. Is anyone vaguely familiar with that concept? No? Well, fitness itself can be thought of in 4 components. There's cardiorespiratory fitness, there's muscular fitness, flexibility, and body composition. Those collectively make total fitness, and addressing these components on a regular basis is the way to achieve total fitness. Total fitness is the ability to carry out all of your daily activities of daily living without feeling completely wasted of energy or experiencing injury. Now, don't get me wrong, I know we've all experienced some tough days, especially in recent times, whether you served in the military or not. But if you are addressing the 4 components of fitness regularly, then you should have some fuel in the tank at the end of the day, unless that day was spent running a marathon or an ultra race. Looking at some of you specifically. Now, before we hit the ground running, it's a great idea to assess yourself, see how prepared you are to take on a fitness regimen. It's never too early or too late for most people to incorporate physical activity as part of their daily life. But to know for certain how ready you are, you just have to take an honest look at your capabilities, your current condition, and your 4 components of total fitness, or ask your physician, of course. A helpful admin tool I'm going to share with you now is known as the Physical Activity Readiness Questionnaire, or the PARQ. And I will show you what that looks like. Are you ready? It begins with 7 simple questions. And the form looks something like this. Has your doctor ever said that you have a heart condition or high blood pressure? Number 2, do you feel pain in your chest at rest during your daily activities of daily living, or when you do physical activity? Number 3, do you lose balance because of dizziness, or have you lost consciousness in the last 12 months? Number 4, have you ever been diagnosed with another chronic medical condition other than heart disease or high blood pressure? Number 5, are you currently taking prescribed medications for a chronic medical condition? Number 6, do you currently have a bone, joint, or soft tissue problem that could be made worse by becoming more physically active? And finally, number 7, has your doctor ever said that you should only do medically supervised physical activity? Now, these questions aren't necessarily disqualifiers, because many of us, if not most of us, live with some conditions that may be included in these first 7 questions. But hopefully by now, with the help of your physician or other knowledgeable certified people you may know, you've adopted or are ready to adopt a regimen that is appropriate for you based on how you answer those questions. This is just a guideline that either beginners or physicians discussing physical activity with beginners might take a look at. Thanks for looking at that with me. Moving on. We are going to talk about what to do once you have an idea where you stand. That's when you can start to construct realistic fitness goals. You just have to explore where you want to be fitness-wise. What exactly is a fitness goal, though? A fitness goal is simply a statement of results that a person wants to achieve from an exercise program. That's how it's defined by the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Now, there are 4 components to consider when constructing a realistic fitness goal. Number 1 is an action to take. Number 2 is a measurable result. Number 3 is a time period or date to accomplish it by. And number 4, last but not least, is the resources that you're willing to invest into accomplishing that goal. A rough example would be, I want to lose 10 pounds in 30 days by monitoring my nutrition intake and running at least 3 miles in 24 minutes per day. Now, that's not an exact prescription to reach that desired goal. That's just an example that hits all 4 components. There's an action to take, which was losing 10 pounds by running and watching my nutrition. There's a time, and that's 30 days. It was my goal. I'll also consider the resources I'm willing to invest. And some tips to further increase the likelihood of accomplishing your goals are to write them down. Consider some benchmarks you want to hit along the way, because when you're trying to accomplish a goal, it's nice to see progress, and it's good to measure progress. And make sure your goals are big enough, which means make sure your goals size up to what you're investing in them. The time, the money, the effort that you're putting into accomplishing this goal, make sure that goal is worthwhile. No, there is such thing as too much exercise, as I mentioned earlier. An athlete that comes to mind that sets a really high bar is this Canadian athlete named James Lawrence, who some of you may be familiar with. He's known as the Iron Cowboy. Now, he's famous for successfully completing 50 triathlons in 50 consecutive days. And it's just wild. And that I didn't stutter. That was 50 triathlons in 50 consecutive days. Now, some of his accomplishments have been criticized, and they're under scrutiny because of the use of IV saline bags after each race, as well as for some of the races biking on a stationary bike to avoid bad weather, just so he could accomplish the feat. But it's still an incredible feat nonetheless. The point is that not everyone is like the Iron Cowboy. Most of us have to go about accomplishing our goals in a more moderate fashion, and that will always be okay, just as long as we keep moving. Now, I'm going to take a little break from the script before we move on to objective 3. I'd like the opportunity to give out another gift bag. If anyone is willing to tell us a benefit, how one of our 11 body systems is benefited from regular exercise. Anybody can take the mic.
Are these like our own personal stories?
If you give a personal story, Stephanie, I'll even throw in a bonus gift card with that gift bag.
Okay, well, for myself, I mean, just noticing brain health. It wasn't until I really started working out, and I've gone all over the map in regards to over exercising and burning my body out, which was really unhealthy, to honing it back to a moderate level where my brain responded immensely. And as you were mentioning, like the neurotransmitters that are released when we do exercise, like serotonin, and that's the primary thing that they put in a lot of SSRIs. So I mean, it was astounding once I told myself, like, not something extreme like 9 miles a day, but getting at least 30 minutes of exercise, like 3 miles, whatever it may be, I started feeling astounding. And it was great to see from a level of like in the dirt to coming up and being like, oh, I kind of want to get up every day. This feels good. So.
Yes. I can completely relate. Thank you for that personal touch on it. And you did just get yourself a gift bag and a gift card. Good for you.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you. Okay. We are going to move on to our third objective in just a moment. There is something I wanted to touch on when you want to choose the right exercise or regimen for you. there's some factors to consider. There's an acronym that sort of spells SAFE, but it's SSAFFEE. And I'll explain to you now what that long acronym means. The first S is scientifically documented benefits. Your exercise of choice should have some evidence of proven benefits. Many of us, I can't say personally me, but we might see a new fad exercise or diet regimen that it seems popular. It seems like a good idea. Maybe it's marketed in just a really genius way. But if there isn't evidence of proven benefits over time, then it may or may not be for you, depending on your experience level. Just take that in consideration. The next S is safe. How safe is the workout that you are going to get yourself involved in? An effective workout should not subject you to physical pain to the point of injury. Just keep that in mind. A is for appropriateness. Is it appropriate to your needs and your means as well? In other words, you shouldn't be spending a fortune to get your health on track. Convenience should be key when starting out or maintaining. F, functionally sound. So how functionally driven the exercise is should revolve around how it can be applied to real life movement. That's important as well. The next F is for feel. Now, depending on the design, machines and equipment have specific feels to them. In other words, the motion or the stress required to do the exercise should be within your current skill set, or as athletes put it, your wheelhouse. Next E. E is for effective. Now, you want to know that what you're investing in an exercise is providing some progress for you. It should be effective, and that effectiveness should be obvious over time. The next E is for enjoyment. Exercise shouldn't feel pointless or unenjoyable. It is very, very possible to have fun when exercising. And if you don't believe me, just ask Abigail on Thursday evenings down in Castle Rock. It's a lot of fun. You should explore options that bring you some level of joy. Absolutely. Thanks for taking a look at that with me. So, when becoming or sustaining being an active person, it's absolutely okay to give yourself some breaks. Keep that in mind. It's perfectly okay, perfectly healthy to consider the need for rest. Quality time with others is important, or giving yourself time to recover from an illness or an injury. You don't want to look at any of that as setbacks. Those are all essential parts of life as well. You want to avoid turning something positive into something negative, is what I'm trying to say. Also, there's such thing as compulsive exercising. And compulsive exercisers are often found to be running from an issue, as found by doctors in the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. In reality, we want to face those issues head on, or possibly with the help of a professional. A healthy approach can begin with creating your own prescription for fitness. With all of your unique factors in mind, consider the following: frequency, intensity, time, type, and progression. This is called a fit prescription. Some of you may be familiar. Example for an aerobic exercise prescription might be for frequency, five days a week. Intensity, moderate intensity, which is roughly 50% of your max effort. Time can be 30 to 60 minutes. And for type, in the aerobic realm, we can say walking is an example. And as far as progression goes, that fifth component of the fit prescription, you simply want to gradually increase the duration, frequency, and intensity of the activity that you're involving yourself in. Finally, understand that what you already bring to the table is worth something. You all have experiences, knowledge, unique capabilities, and varied expertise, and you know yourselves. You know your weaknesses and you know your strengths. All of these combined makes it for some valuable perspective. On the subject of weaknesses and strengths, I would just like to share that I've been fortunate enough to be put in some environments where a lot of seemingly impossible physical tasks were placed in front of people and they overcame the odds. We are all more capable than we may realize or feel on a certain day. Does anyone have any questions thus far? All right. Well, we're going to move on to our last objective. This is the pledge. Now, before we design this pledge to ourselves, I want to discuss the value of establishing quality connections by attending Team RWB events. If you already attend events regularly, then you understand the significance of partaking in physical activities with a great group of people. But there may be some that are reluctant to join in on the fun because of possible barriers, like reluctance to interact with others right now, being consumed by our professions or technology, and we rely on those type of connections. Maybe a lack of interpersonal skills or a fear of change, perhaps. So many possibilities. I'd just like to let you know that my experience with this community, with Team RWB so far, has been one of inclusion and consideration, fun, health, progression, and inspiration. I've learned quite a bit from several members, and it's always been a good time. And I encourage you to find out for yourselves. If you're not familiar with Team RWB, I know those of you who are joining us may not be. You can find out more at teamrwb.org. Now, after careful consideration of everything that we've reviewed, including the negative aspects of a sedentary lifestyle and the vast number of benefits to becoming or staying active, and how to approach getting started, I'm going to ask that we each take a turn to make a pledge to ourselves. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to do this. It's a pledge that has two important components. One is deciding to go ahead and attend a Team RWB event, hopefully in the week following this workshop. The second is the actual fitness goal. Now, if you remember my example from earlier was, and it doesn't have to revolve around weight loss, it doesn't have to revolve around anything specific. This is up to you. This is a goal that you can construct yourself. But my rough example was I want to lose 10 pounds in 30 days by monitoring my nutrition intake and running at least 3 miles in 24 minutes a day. So with that in mind, an action to take, something that's measurable in a certain amount of time that you want to do, go ahead and construct a goal and think about the first part of the pledge, which is attending an event, hopefully in the week following this workshop. So I'll give you some time now. And in the meantime, I'll be here constructing more. All right, let's talk about the pledge. Who's got a pledge and a fitness goal in mind that they'd like to share?
I'll go.
Go for it.
All right, so, well, I know I need to lose about 20 pounds. I know that sounds rather cliche, but I do. And so, but the nice thing is that coming out of COVID, I think that will help with the hike series and the biking series and all that we have coming up for the summer. I think that's going to be very attainable. I expect that by the end of summer, I can lose at least that much.
Okay.
Um,
You hit all
Yeah.
the marks there. You've got an action to take, and you have a means of doing it, and you know what you're willing to invest in it. And end of summer, and knowing how regularly you attend the events and partake in it, I don't see that being a really hard accomplishment for you to reach. So thank you for sharing.
I'll go if we're unmuted.
Go for it.
So my goal by September of this year is to do a triathlon sprint. Anybody that knows me knows I can run all day long, but heaven forbid, I'm awful in the water and I'm terrified of it. So my goal is to just get out there and force me to do it. And I've got friends that are like, hey, give me a call, we'll go together. And that's great because I probably will need them to drag me in. But yeah, that's my goal. And it's not going to be an issue biking and riding. It will 100% be an issue with swimming. And so I've set my mind to it and I'm going to get it done.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. I feel that on so many levels. I mean, I was telling Abigail recently, I've never been asked to swim longer than 100 meters. I'd really love to compete in a triathlon this year. I just that part honestly scares me a little bit, but I think I'm around the right people right now to reach that goal, which is
Let's go swimming
right here. Let's go. Let's do it. So I'm ready, and it sounds like you're ready too. So thanks for sharing. Appreciate that. And I have just one more gift card. I'm not going to beg you to share, but I have one more gift card I'd like to give away. If anybody is willing to share a fitness goal.
Henry's can jump on here. Mine was, I talked earlier about weight loss. So I'm trying to get down to 175 by August. And this is to improve my health through dieting and exercise. Maybe to get more involved with Team Red, White, and Blue. I know I talked to Cheryl over the summer or over the winter about getting out and doing more stuff. And I talked to the team Thursday night about when do the hikes start on Saturday. That's one of the big goals is to get out and start doing more hiking. And I went and got a ruck, got about 25 pounds in my sack right now. I'd like to get that up to 35 and get a good 10-mile hike in with the pack on to start and then work up from there.
My goal is basically, I literally sit at my desk for work and from morning till night, not moving around, talking about sedentary. And my goal is to start, and I actually, even before this call, and this even reiterated it more, starting tomorrow, I want to take an hour break and actually get up from my desk and go outside and go for a walk or a hike and just kind of clear my mind and just, I'll just function better.
I think now that sounds like an excellent plan. The 1 hour break, maybe a walk, some fresh air.
Yeah.
I think that's something that that's an excellent goal. And that's something that maybe goes overlooked, just doing those simple little tasks, taking a break.
Yeah. Well, you just get so caught up. You just sit there, work, and and it's even harder working at home because I find you leave your desk even less. So yeah, so it'll be good to change.
Wonderful. Thanks. Thank you guys for sharing. You guys have a lot of prizes coming your way. All right. Well, that's it. We've hit all of our 3 objectives.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah, please.
I was Googling RWB and looking up the communities. And because your first question was what events you're going to do with the RWB. How do you get involved with the RWB? Because I saw like a yoga community and my goal is to start stretching a lot more.
Excellent. Very cool. Thanks for asking. I would like to, he's willing to, I'd like to defer you to our chapter president and state coordinator, Nate. Nate, are you available?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, as far as yoga goes, honestly, we don't have a lot of attendance with the Denver chapter, but there is, if you join Team RWB, which is free to join, there are daily 2 different yoga events, virtual events. And if you are part of the Denver chapter, we do work with Comeback Yoga quite a lot, and we can get you into those classes as well. As far as any of the other stuff, it just kind of depends on where you're at. Again, if you're in the Denver chapter, I think this week we have 9 different events. The only day we don't have an event is tomorrow. We generally have events, probably about 5 events a week, and they vary in everything from running, biking. Apparently, we're going to start swimming, guys. Right, Stephanie? And yes, there's going to be a hike series through the summer. We do have some functional fitness classes. I really would like to see those get going again. It just depends on what you want to do. We can always set up events to accommodate people.
So Nate, I have a question for you. When someone wants to become a member, can they join on the website?
Yes, that's exactly where you'll join. There's also a Team RWB app. If you download the app, you can join through that as well. It's free to join. And if you're a veteran, if you look at Chris's shirt there, you'll get one of those for free.
Thanks, Nate. Appreciate it. Do I have any other questions before we wrap things up?
I think Terry wanted to say something.
Oh, Terry, what's up?
Terry needs to unmute herself.
I am unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Where I live, I don't really have anybody. Nobody wants me to join them, I guess, because I live too far away from the different places. Is there? I don't even know what to do. I mean, when I do virtual things, I don't even get recognized for it because I can go to Kalamazoo or I can go to South Bend. Both of them are like hour and a half, 2 hours from me. I don't know. Can I start one here?
Or you mean, can you start a chapter of Team RWB where you are?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, because I just don't. It's hard for me to get to events because they're too far away.
Yeah, that makes sense. That would be quite an investment. I did talk about, the means you're willing to invest in taking part in physical activity, especially if you're going to do it with this group. I don't know the specifics on starting a chapter, I'll be honest with you, but
I'm already working on this one for her. So
excellent. Good.
You can always start with member created events too. So she can just go in there and create an event without having to start an entire chapter.
Very cool.
Yeah, I would like to be able to run. Yeah, I'm trying to work up to a half marathon in September, and I go out and run every day, but I would love to have people to run with.
Of course.
A group. So maybe I can do that.
It's possible. It sounds like you can absolutely create events. I would encourage you to also explore, if you haven't already, maybe you have just local options, as well as finding, there are national websites that will post information on local races in almost any, not just major city, but almost any city across the country. It's worth a shot.
I don't think very many people run around here. I don't know.
Oh, well, it sounds like you set the example for where you are, so that's a good place to be.
Yeah, I'm been trying to get people to start running with me, but not having any luck.
Well, I hope that changes soon. It sounds like you're ready to be proactive about it, and that's the right mindset to have, certainly.
Chris, can I jump in real fast?
By all means, Abigail.
Okay, Miguel, we'd love to have you join us. So just, you can come try, and we try to do stretching a lot of the times in different activities and stuff. It's not yoga necessarily, but it is stretching. And then anybody who wants to informally join me, I've decided to do one of my goals is 20 minutes in May. So, and you talked about it being an antidepressant and things like that. So I'm like, you know what? I can do 20 minutes. So I'm going to do 20 minutes of some kind of, like Cheryl, get up and walk for 20 minutes. Today I trail ran, or get on my exercise bike, or just jump around the house and do jumping jacks and then some sit-ups or whatever for 20 minutes. So if anybody else wants to informally join me, we could do an email or text check-in on each other. Like 20 minutes in May is my goal, and I'd love to have some accountability buddies.
Thank you very much, Abigail.
Virtual.
It's also important to note, you don't have to be a member to join an event. You can just show up at an event. If you have friends that you want to come with and they're not members, fine, bring them along. Just anybody's welcome, civilian, vet, and member, non-member. It's, the more people we have out there, the happier we are.
Absolutely. Thanks, Michael. Thank you, Abigail. And Terry, thank you. And Miguel, thanks for the question. I hope you find the website easy to navigate. It is relatively easy to join. Also, if and when you join, and you get the application, it's pretty clear. There's an event thumbnail, and that event thumbnail will show you both live in-person events as well as the virtual events, which Nate did mention there are 2 yoga events that you can do virtually a day, which is pretty cool. So thanks. And does anyone else have any other questions? All right. Well, the purpose of today's workshop was to discuss the health implications of living a sedentary lifestyle, as we discussed several times, and to rediscover the vast number of benefits from being active, as well as explore our abilities to create healthy habits. You were really generous enough to share those fitness goals that you shared, and I hope that you follow through on them. You also demonstrated your understanding of the potential negative consequences of avoiding exercise. I appreciate that. Those of you that did contribute, you will all receive prizes. Now I want to just wholeheartedly thank you all for tuning into this workshop and for joining me and for contributing this back and forth. As much as I would have preferred to have it in person, virtually seemed to be just a little more appropriate for the times. And we were able to connect with people that aren't even in Colorado, which thank you for being here. This is really, this is huge. So you could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to be here and join in and listen to this helpful information. And I'm grateful that you did. Before I say goodbye, are there any last questions or comments?
Hey, Chris, I just wanted to say thank you very much. This was really good, and thanks for taking the time to walk us through all this. You did a great job. Really good.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Dennis. And
Thanks, Chris. It was great.
Thank you, Chris. This is awesome. I learned a ton.
Thanks, Abigail. I really appreciate your enthusiasm from the beginning, and this. A special thank you to Nate Robinson. I reached out to you months ago about presenting this workshop, and without hesitation, you were on board 100%, more enthusiastic than I was, because I was nervous when I found out that I had to do this, but I got more and more excited as I met more and more people at different events. Thank you, Nate. for all of your support and for helping with the swag bags. That's really important too. But from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much.
You did a great job.
Thanks. Well, I wish you all the best on your personal health journeys. And I can't wait to see you at an event soon. So thank you. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Namaste.